the podcast show. I am your host, TT, and I want to thank you for stopping by on this Wind Down Wednesday. I am super excited for the opportunity that I have to have Swifty McVay from Eminem's group D12 in the building, who happens to also be my husband. So that's a bonus, but I'm still excited. I have the opportunity to interview him. But I know that there are several other platforms and podcast shows you could have tuned into, but you took the time out of your busy schedule and you chose to check in with TT from the D. And for that, I am forever grateful. We have listeners all over the globe. Shout out to some of the places I'm going to shout out. Hold it to my mind and not my heart, because I know that there's a list and I'm actually recording on location today. But I want to salute Bahrain, Egypt, Russia, Africa, of course, the United States. Yes, China, Romania, Europe. There's a few other ones. Oh my God. So don't shoot me. Okay. Don't shoot me. But there's so many of you. Italy. I don't know if I said Italy. Yes, Italy. And so it's amazing. I'm going to get these committed to my memory, because without you guys as my listeners, where would I be? So let me tell you a little bit about my special guest this evening, which I'm super excited to bring on. This young man has been in the industry for over, I would say, probably almost, without giving his age, almost 30 years. Almost. Okay. We give or take, shave a few. And he's served as an amazing artist. He was once a partner, I should say, of a group called Rabies. And then he has an amazing story on how he actually got with his group that actually put him on the map. Okay. And that group is D12. And so he's also an actor. Some of you may not even know he's an actor, a really good actor. He can do stage and film, right? Okay. And he's also taught himself how to utilize Pro Tools and things of that nature. I think Eric from Studio A would be proud of Swifty, because I remember he was speaking some things into existence and planting some seeds a few years ago. And that's before we even got hip to it. But he dibbles and dabbles with being able to do his own little sessions and things of that nature. And just an all around great guy. He's a great husband, awesome dad, a really good friend, and a motivator, right? He's also a mentor to people he doesn't even know. There's a lot of folks that look up to him, young and seasoned. Let's say that, young and seasoned. Let's put it that way. But he's also big on being a part of his community. He is a part of the men's group at our church. He's my partner in crime in the marriage ministry at our church. He's also one of my biggest supporters. So without any further ado, I'd like to welcome to TT from the D, Swifty McVay.
What up, Miss TT from the D?
How you doing?
I'm doing well, and thank you for that hell of an intro. And that introduction is classic. I love it, and it's always a pleasure to listen to your show and to see you do what you do.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that love.
Well,
I really do, because I know I watch you do a lot of different interviews for different radio shows, podcast shows, and I'm always like, okay. And one thing I love about you, as far as when it comes to your interviewing, is that you treat all interviews as if they are that top one. You don't, say, well, I'm going to do this little interview for this little. No, you give everyone that same energy and that same vibe, including me. You don't say, hey, I'm going let me do this show for my wife. No, you're like, I'm going on TT show. It's like, yeah, because I'm my own girl. So thank you for that.
no problem. My pleasure, and I appreciate that.
So I was telling a little bit about you to some of my new listeners or old listeners, but give us an overview of who Swifty McVay is.
Well, I'm Swifty McVay, a Detroit native. I've been rapping basically all my life. Been in the music. Music is the only thing that I've ever wanted to do. Only thing that I've been doing. That was my plan A, plan B, C, D, E, F, and so forth. I actually started out, like you said, in a group called Rabies in the mid '90s. It was actually a group that I got started back when I was in middle school, and we've been blessed to get signed to a major label. that just didn't really crack after our single. It was a learning experience and blessing at the same time. And then shortly after that, got disbanded. I got connected with D12. So, we were blessed to have two albums that went #1 worldwide. And thanks to Eminem, who was in the group before he got signed, and we all made a pact that whoever gets signed first will come back and get each other. So Eminem went to California, did his thing, came back and got the group, which opened the doors for us to do big things. And we just tried to, you know, keep it going from there. I dibble dabble in the acting field. I dibble dabble in plays, thanks to you introducing me to that field, because you are a, 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 a female general when it comes to plays or whatnot. So
Thank you.
yep, and just anything that has to do with my likeness in music and entertainment, as far as acting and plays and things of that nature, I dibble in, and I'm here to tell it. And thank God that He allowed me to experience these things over the years and able to share, with the world.
That's awesome. So let me ask you. I mean, we know we are still in the pandemic. Some people are like, "Oh, I'm so glad we got through the pandemic." No, we haven't, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We're still living in this pandemic. You should still be wearing your mask, whether you're vaccinated or not vaccinated. You still should be using hand sanitizer, keeping your hands washed. You should have been doing that way before the pandemic even manifested. But that's another story. You should still, keep your space, social distance within yourself. And when I say that, just give people their space. You should be doing all of that. But when the pandemic hit us, it hit us extremely hard. It came almost out of nowhere. Some people had a little bit of knowledge about it, but we didn't have a name for it. How has the pandemic affected your brand, Swift, as an artist?
Well, as far as my brand, it was kind of scary, because I mean, especially when it came to the touring and features and traveling aspect of it, because one of the biggest things for artists is touring and travel. When they're not making music in the studio, putting songs on the radio to the world, they're there being still, listening to songs rotate. But then when that's not happening, then they rely on traveling, and it just put a damper. And for us to be in something new and not knowing what the future may hold, it almost felt like, wow, is this it? It was a very scary thing to not know what was going on, and to have in the back of your mind that this very much might be the thing that stops traveling and touring and things of that nature. So it was a very, very spooky thing. I was just thinking like, dang, is this retirement time? Is it for all performers around the world? I just not knowing was a very spooky thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What was one of your biggest challenges or losses during the spike of this pandemic?
One of the biggest challenges and losses, besides losing loved ones that we loved and knew, and it's just the cancellation of work.
Mm,
Being a entrepreneur, relying on these shows and not being able to connect with the people. This is what artists always wanted to do. And with me being blessed to be able to have fans that want to see me face to face, I was faced with a lot of show cancellations, and it put a little damper in my spirit. Not once, but not twice, but three times. And four times,
right.
and things of that nature. So, besides losing loved ones, this the cancellation of shows, and not being able to go anywhere to do these meetings with the important people that you need to see, and then not knowing if it's going to ever change or not. So that was just the biggest thing for me in my career and personally.
Gotcha. Now, I have to say, COVID-19 hit the world really, really hard for athletes and actors and artists. It was extremely hard, I'm sure, because as you said, you're an entrepreneur, whether you were an athlete and you couldn't go out to perform on the court or on the field because the shutdowns, and then the whole, if you vaccinated, bring your card, you can get in. If you're not just all those issues, all those obstacles. How did you manage to still create great music during the shutdown?
Well, thank goodness that I have an in-house studio. I was blessed to have an in-house studio, something that I always wanted. Um, and I had an engineer that that was with me for a long, long time. And what's so crazy is not only you know, was that the pandemic came and messed things up. When it was time for me to try to look at this equipment and say, you know what, I want to call my engineer over, or even go wherever he is, or my plan B or plan C, I couldn't do that. So I just had to sit back and say, you know what, let me go ahead and try to make things happen on my own. And I got inspired, just from sitting down, collecting my thoughts, being able to stay in tune with the world internet wise, and just kind of look at things a little bit more than I ever did, which caused my creativity bug to spike. Because I'm sitting in one spot, your mind is racing, thoughts is racing, and you're just kind of able to kind of just sit and think a little bit more. And with us being creative human beings in this music industry, it allowed me to be able to do that a little bit more. So inspiration, the creativity just came from just sitting still, being able to sit still for so long. Uh, Kind of spiked my creativity bug.
Sweet, sweet. Now, as I had said earlier in the show, people need to still be taking their precautions. We've gotten a lot laxed over the past year, I would say. What were some safety measures you took personally when you did have to go in studio and go face to face with other artists, producers while we were in this pandemic? What were some of the precautions that you took to make sure you stayed safe?
Well, you know what? One of the biggest things, which was a blessing, was a lot of producers and engineers didn't come outside. So, thank goodness for technology that we were able to make do verses and send them via internet or via.
Mm,
Yep. So I would do verses and send them through. They would send me music, and I was blessed to be able to record projects without even being in the same room as the producer.
wow.
Yep, yep. So I'm quite sure that that's been going on for a while, but with this pandemic hitting, we were really forced to utilize that tool, and that's what we've been doing to keep safe, because it's been a lot of producers who just didn't want to come on out, which was understandable.
Right, right.
So through that time, we didn't get to meet each other at studios. We went straight technology style, like with one of my albums, I was able to record my 80 Empire album with my brothers from Canada, and we did the whole project within a week. A
I
whole.
remember. I remember. Shout out to the RZA brothers. Yeah, I remember
Yeah,
that.
big shout out to the RZA brothers. Not only were we, I'm sending them verses at 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning, all times at night. With me not going nowhere, I was able to really finish this album in a whole week with them, and they were able to just send me beats, and we were able to zoom and talk more, and just and it just felt like we were all in the same room together, but we were just and it was just, this Zoom thing was new too, so we were safe but still felt comfortable enough to talk and laugh and vibe as if we were all in the same room. So, but to answer your question, the technology of being able to Zoom and send verses to each other and beats to each other via email, say, made it safe for everybody to do what we love to do and still be safe.
That's what's up. That's
Yeah.
cool. Um, what is one positive thing you feel that was a blessing for you during this pandemic?
One positive thing is bonding with my bonding
Yeah.
with the family.
Yeah.
It was very unfortunate. Yeah, I didn't think about this at first, but it was very unfortunate to hear how a lot of people around the world just was catching anxiety, and being around their peoples for a long time, and they just needed space or whatnot. But with me, it was a positive thing because it allowed me to bond more. It allowed me to spend you know time with you that I couldn't spend because we both were doing our thing so much. But when the pandemic hit, it allowed me to be able to vibe with you, in a way that I haven't in a long time, and to really, really, be hands on more than I ever been. Not saying that I wasn't hands on with Cody or whatnot, but our son. That's Cody. Big shout out to Coach. They're out there.
Okay, Cody's World.
Cody's World 2. Go see Cody on
Yes.
Cody's World 2 on Instagram.
Yes,
Know what I'm
yes.
talking about. But just that, and just being able to bond, being able to bond and talk and conversate at the times when we wasn't able to do it because we had so much to do. This allowed that time to happen. So I think that was just the biggest thing right there, positive.
I agree. I touch and agree. I feel, as you said, we're in the entertainment industry in two different ways, of course. You're the artist and I work with artists and I do all other kind of stuff, but we're always on the go. But we always make time too. And we say that to other couples and people when they ask like, how do you guys, you could be on different time zones. Well, I'll set my alarm clock. Okay. He over in Europe. I'll set it. I'll wake up. Hey, what's going on? Okay. Okay. I'm going to sleep or whatever it is. And so you just make it work. But you're right. When this hit us, we were home, and this was a make it or break it for some marriages and some
Yeah,
some families. Some families realized they couldn't stand each other. Some families realized they didn't know each other. All we
yeah,
did was bond deeper, and so I'm grateful for that, and I'm glad you see it that way too.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's dope. So, did you have the opportunity to create? I know you did the project with the RZA brothers, but what else have you been working on in the lab? Are you currently working on something? Did you just finish something? What can you tell us?
Well, sure. Well, let me stand back a little bit. When the pandemic first hit, and I was able to empower myself after I learned how to empower myself behind the boards and played the role and what I had as an engineer. Shoot, I was able to create three projects that year, three
Mm.
full length projects, two projects and a mixtape. I was able to do. And as a matter of fact, I did four projects that year, but not counting me and Canava's project we did before the pandemic got real deep. Me and Canava finished our project that January, and we had a release party and whatnot.
My
And
brother's
then,
keeper, right?
yep,
Okay.
titled My Brother's Keeper. We did an
Mm-hmm.
EP, and then February came, but then when March came and things got deep in the shutdown, I remember I think it was like March 15th or something like that. From March 15th to the end of March, maybe a little bit after April, is when we finished the 80 Empire album full length. Then I did a full mixtape,
Wow.
a full mixtape after that I dropped in May, and then
Mm-hmm.
ended up dropping that album, that 80 Empire album in July. Then I did another one called Detroit Life full length album the end of that year. So that whole year, I was able to crank out three albums during the pandemic because my creative juices was flowing, and was able to even pull out a video featuring you and a whole bunch of other
Yeah.
popular entertaining people that's on our side was able to show up during the pandemic. So
Yeah.
it didn't stop people from showing up and showing out feature wise, video wise, or whatever, which was cool. And um and right now I have a project that I'm currently finished, and it's called Gray Rose, and it's produced by 80 Empire as well. It's just me and 80 Empire, no features, and just trying,
Wow.
yeah, just trying to put that into a nice place as far as record company wise, which I would put it out independent, but I think this album really deserves a machine, and the machine is the record company that can have a team of people to help take this to that next level. So
Right.
I usually put out music independently every year or every other year, but this time I think that the songs on here are so conceptual and has something special that I never really brought out to the world before, as far as subject matter, that I think it needs the machine behind it. So right now I'm just in the process of talking to different people that can probably team up with me to make that happen. But it's a 25 song album featuring me and Eddie Empire, just them and me, no features. The most conceptual album I probably ever worked on out of all 13 of my albums, solo album.
Wow.
Yep. So I'm currently working on that. Just and just looking forward to seeing how they do.
That's dope. So I was super excited, and I know you were pumped, and I know your supporters and your fan base was pumped. You just came back from Canada from doing a tour over there. What was that like versus prior to pandemic? So what my question really is, I know you've been on a Canada tour plenty of times, but what did you see that was different after not being able to go over there for the last 2 years?
You know what? What I could say is I think the energy over there was a little bit more exciting because I feel like people were waiting to come out to see shows and waiting to vibe on that level, and you could just see the excitement. I mean, me touring in Canada as much as I did, it was excitement, it was pumpness, but I could still see that level of excitement, that level of urgency in the fans' face to come and see, and they was, in front of the stage showing love, and it was just, it was pumpness. So I think that from coming from a place to where we thought that we were never going to be able to go to concerts again, and then
Mhm.
be able to go to a concert, perform, and see people come out, you've seen that level of happiness and pumpness. So I just want to salute Canada for even wanting me to still come over there and rock, after so long, and and being able to rekindle that energy 10 times more even before the pandemic started.
Well, now let me get your personal opinion, because I've talked to several different artists and people who travel a lot, and we all have our opinions about the vaccination. And it's your right. It's everybody's right. If you're vaccinated, you're not vaccinated, nobody, whatever. But as an artist, because I know that there's some artists that will not perform if the guests are not vaccinated. Then there's some artists that will perform if you can show proof that you have negative, not positive, sorry, a negative COVID test. Then there's some that say, I don't care what you're doing. I'm up on stage. That's on y'all, but just be safe. Do you feel, in your personal opinion, that everybody should be vaccinated to attend a concert? That they should bring their COVID positive or negative? I mean, you wouldn't become if you positive, but the negative test results, or you feel like everybody should just take their precautions and be safe?
um I think if they came up with a system, if they I mean if they came up with a system to say, hey, show your credentials before you come in here. I mean, I wouldn't be mad at it. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, at the same, I mean, I'm 50-50 with it.
Okay.
To be honest with you,
Okay.
because I'm not gonna say don't go get the shot. And I'm on a level to where if you don't get the shot, I'm still on a level like, okay, you ain't got the shot, but I'm still cautious. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not I don't have this strong opinion as far as what I feel people should do. I kind of just really focused on what's best for me and the fam. And I don't want to sound selfish because I don't want nothing to happen to nobody. But at the end of the day, everybody has a choice, and I feel that is their choice, people's choice to do what they want to do. Yeah,
And I agree with you. I know some people, okay, so for instance, if you have a meet and greet, you should, I personally feel, if you have a meet and greet with an artist or group or, entertainer, whatever, I feel like you should have your mask on.
absolutely,
And that's because now you're one on one, you're in my personal space. I ain't checked to see if you had a test. And let's be clear, and I'm just putting this out there. Just because you got a card don't mean that you got the jab, as people would say, right? Because we
right,
know all that shit was going on before. So, and even here's the other part to that. I don't care if you have been vaccinated, triple booster shots. You could still be a carrier and a spreader. So I'm like, listen, wear your mask, look out for you. I
yeah,
can't I can't tell you either way, but do what's best for you. Whether you've been vaccinated, you haven't been vaccinated, stay safe regardless, because there is nothing that's stopping you from getting it or spreading it. Nothing.
absolutely. And then I think there's a lot of people out here to piggyback off of what you said. A lot of people out here who feels like, what, this is much going on out here, I'm going to be wear my mask. And then there's a lot of people out here who sees what's going on but haven't really felt it because they haven't hit home, so they
Yeah.
don't understand the severity of it at all, so they don't wear a mask or whatnot, so it just really depends on the people in the circumstances. And I'm one who respects the what's going on. Like, hey, I feel it's real.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And you should go ahead and wear your mask and be cautious. You know what I'm saying? You do what you want to do as far as getting poked with the needle or whatnot. But if you don't get poked with a needle, at least walk into the place with a mask on and have your family masked up when it comes to being in big crowded places, because I've one who witnessed loved ones passing away from this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And for the ones who haven't witnessed, I hope you never witness someone passing from this. But I just want to let you know, whoever's listening, that is real. And I
Yeah.
hope that this interview will enlighten and encourage you guys to go ahead and want to wear mags, even if you haven't experienced a loved one passing from this, which I hope never happens. So just
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Swifty, I appreciate you and I appreciate your time. We forever shaking and moving. Um, Tell us, do you have any upcoming tour dates?
well, you know what? I'm working on coming back to Canada. I'm working on going back to Canada. We was on like the East Coast run. These last run that I just did recently was like the East Coast. So this next run is not carved in stone. So we in negotiations of trying to put together the west side of Canada over there, like British Columbia, Vancouver, Albany and things on the west side of things. And hopefully that can come up this summer, because I'm not one to drive on the road in the wintertime during the slick icy roads in the mountains. Canada got a lot of mountains up there
Mm-hmm.
too. So I mean, if I had to, and I'll do it, but I don't want to. So we're just looking forward to that, seeing what's going on with this music, and and just trying to get in where we fit in. You know what I'm saying? And that's about it.
Okay. Okay. And you said your project Gray Rose, do you have a date that's going to be released or you're just waiting? Are you out working on a situation?
Well, we're working on the situation, but I plan. I'm gonna put it out in the atmosphere. I plan on it coming out next year, maybe the beginning of the springtime. So maybe, hopefully, we can go ahead and get it out there, March or whatnot. Because like I said, I want a machine to help partner up to take it to the next level. And if that's gonna happen, which I hope it happens, it's gonna take, a few months to sketch it out and do it right. Because when people put out things independently, they can just put it out there digitally and just let it do what it do. But when you get a part of a
Right.
machine behind it, everything has to be strategically planned. So it's going to take a few months. Which single, you need time to market, you need time to get to these magazines, you need time to do this, that, and the third. So that's why I say maybe the beginning of the spring, which is a good 6 months in the future, which is more, enough time to, get it out there. So that's what I'm looking forward to. And hopefully I don't have to push the date up any further than that, but that's the aim.
Okay. Okay. Well, that sounds great to me, sir. I appreciate you. I appreciate your time.
I appreciate you, Miss TT from the D. Thank you for having me on the show. I appreciate the show. I appreciate listening and what you do. Much love and much success to you and everything that you're doing.
I
Uh,
appreciate that. I appreciate that. Okay. Well, I will be keeping up with you. Of course, I'll be seeing you soon. And for you as well, I wish you much success. I'm so happy that things are opening back up for y'all. The opportunities are manifesting, and greatness is in this way towards everything that you touch. I put that out there for you.
Thank you. I received that and I appreciate that wholeheartedly for Sheezy.
All right. Well, you have a wonderful day, and I will see you soon.
You do the same and be safe.
Thank you. I will.
You're welcome. Salute.
Mhm. Salute.